research lab in Sector C has finished gathering data. Ashley, all of the research stations have finished their quantum scans of the Great Tree structure. You can proceed with the analysis.
Interesting. This organism has a very complex, multi-layered structure that goes deep underground. The part that's visible above ground is primarily responsible for reproduction, which is very similar to Earth-based mushrooms.
So, what is the interesting part?
The fruit body, which we've dubbed the mushroom tree, is close to 100 meters tall. If the underground body of this fungus holds proportions similar to Earth-based fungus, this entire organism could span hundreds of kilometers. Who knows, maybe it's underlying all of this swamp.
That is a bold theory. But even if it is true, it still does not mean that this fungus is a threat to our mission on Galatea 37.
Wait, there's more. The pollen cloud that reached our base was emitted by this huge fungal species, but the larger spores that were spreading the infectious growth came from a different species. Our data shows that the invasive spores share DNA with the parasites that are crawling all over this tree.
That sounds like a typical parasitic relationship, which is quite common in nature.
Maybe, but not on this scale. These parasites have almost completely taken over this great mushroom tree. That huge spore cloud was just a manifestation of the problems to come. Imagine what could happen if a few hundred square kilometers big organism started to multiply in an uncontrolled manner. I think that this ecosystem is on the verge of collapsing and that we should try to bring it back to balance.
I am still not convinced, Ashley, but you are the boss here. What would you like to do next?
First, we should stop these parasites from multiplying any further. I don't want to use brute force against them. That could damage the organism and wouldn't be very effective. Maybe we could try to find some natural repellent that could drive them away from this tree.
I have cross-checked this parasite species' chemical spectrum against planetary quantum scans of the fungal swamp. This species appears to be commonly present in smaller populations throughout the entire biome. However, there are a few areas that are free of it.
Good thinking, Mr. Riggs. We have to check what is so repulsive in these places.
I concur, Ashley. I have marked one of these areas on the planetary scanner interface. We can go there as soon as you're ready. Crafting completed. jump successful. Oh my, Ashley. The atmosphere is intense in this area.
What? What do you mean?
The smell. It's overwhelming my sensors. You are so lucky to be inside of me.
What? What does it smell like?
It smells like freshly baked cinnamon buns with garlic and vinegar sauce, but much, much more intense than you could ever expect.
Oh, that doesn't sound so bad. At least we know what those parasites are afraid of. Let's try to find what's secreting the smell.
Looks interesting. Let's move closer to it.
Is that smell coming from this plant?
It does have an intense odor that is similar to what I described earlier, but it is much less intense.
Maybe it isn't ripe yet.
That is possible. Or maybe it needs to be fermented.
Yeah, that would make sense too. I think we're getting closer. Let's keep searching. We can call this plant garlemonium from the scent.
Brilliant name, Ashley. No wonder you're a scientist.
I love working with you, Mr. Riggs. Please, never change.
I know where that smell is coming from. I've marked the location on your map. Oh, it looks like a colorful heap of toothpaste. Wait, is this what I think it is? You do not want to brush your teeth with that, Ashley. It is a steaming pile of feces.
It totally makes sense, yet somehow I wasn't expecting this. Well, we have to take a sample. Bring out the drill arm, Mr. Riggs.
Of course, Ashley. I am not complaining. Whatever you say.
Thank you, Mr. Riggs. This substance has an unbelievably intense odor. No wonder the parasites hate it. But we'll need to gather more of it if we want to get rid of them from the entire tree.
Brilliant. I really feel like I was made for this job.
Stop complaining, Mr. Riggs. Nobody said we'd only be sniffing flowers. Okay, how can we get more of this product?
These excrements were produced by a large animal that feeds on the garlemonium plant. We should search for one of these animals, feed it with the fruit, and wait until the digestive process is complete.
Sounds easy enough. Let's search for this poop machine. Look at that curiosity! It's got huge dangling eyes at the front, a lot of smaller eyes on all sides, and a huge gaping mouth at the bottom. This is probably the strangest creature that we've seen on this planet, or maybe even anywhere.
Indeed, Ashley. It is really difficult to say how all of its appendages fit in this ecosystem. It does not appear to be aggressive.
Bingo! This creature is an herbivore that feeds primarily on the garlemonium plant. Now we only have to feed it some of the fruit and wait for the digested product.
I really like how you use the word product in this particular instance.
I was trying to avoid saying poo too much, but if you insist, we can call this creature a pugrit.
Ashley, we can grab one of those garlemonium fruits with the gravity modulator and toss it to a pugret. It should try to eat it if it's close enough.
It's getting cloudy. It looks like it's going to rain.
This rain is harmless to our base, but it decreases solar panel efficiency until it stops.
Okay, the pugrit noticed the garlemonium fruit. Ew, that's gross. Wow. That was some rapid digestion. Bring out your drilling arm, Mr. Riggs. We've got science to do. Okay, I think we need to collect a few more piles of the product, and we should be good.
Base operations returning back to normal.
This is it. I think we've got enough of the product to spray the entire mushroom tree. We can rift back to the fungal swamp outpost as soon as we're ready.
Wait a moment, Ashley. I think we missed something that you may consider interesting.
What is it?
My sensors are picking up an unusual energy emission in the middle of a flooded area. The energy signature is similar to the bioanomalies that we have been encountering from time to time. But this one appears to be larger, and they previously only appeared on dry land.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like something that is worth investigating. Let's go there.
Crafting completed.
It's hard to see anything in this fog. It's also affecting our solar panels and wind turbines. We have to wait it out. The fog is clearing up.
I am picking up a strong energy emission nearby.
I see light coming from behind those rocks. Let's check that out.
It is a large bioanomaly, Ashley. Just as expected.
Wait. This is an obvious trap, Mr. Riggs. This place looks strange and deserted, and there's a huge treasure cache glowing red right in the middle. It's as obvious as it gets.
Well, do you not want to open it?
Duh, of course I do. Let's just get prepared before we do that. Somehow I feel that we might get surprised, even though we expect to be surprised.
Human logic. Base is under attack.
An energy connector has been destroyed. The wind is picking up speed. Loose objects are starting to fly. The wind is much stronger than usual. The wind is calming down.
Not enough carbonium.
Not enough carbonium.
I'm close to another building of the same type.
Not enough carbonium. It's getting cloudy. It looks like it's going to rain. It's raining. It will decrease the output from solar panels until it stops. A new technology has been developed. New buildings are available for construction.
Enemies coming in from all around us. Base is under attack.
One of our energy connectors has been destroyed.
A tower has been destroyed. The rain is over. Base operations returning back to normal.
An energy connector has been destroyed.
Base is under attack. Tower destroyed. Weapon dropped. We can try to recover it later. One of our walls is being destroyed. One of our energy connectors has been destroyed.
Under attack.
An energy connector has been destroyed.
Mudroners in that attack, including some very large ones. That was unusual.
This species appears to have higher intelligence than most creatures that we have encountered on this planet. Maybe they have intentionally prepared this trap.
I don't think so. They're not that smart, and I doubt they would have been aware that we were coming here. I think this bioanomaly must have served some special purpose to them. Maybe they were worshipping it. Or maybe they were drawn to its energy.
We have seen similar bioanomalies in all parts of Galatea 37, but we still do not know what they really are. The things that they all share in common are that they appear to be much older than their surroundings, and that any attempt at opening them creates strong energy emissions that aggravate all creatures within a large distance.
Isn't this universal functionality strange? It would seem that these bioanomalies have the ability to control wildlife, and that they are using them as a protective mechanism.
A primordial organism that can control any sophisticated wildlife and appears in all parts of the globe? Sounds like a wild conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I agree that it's a far-fetched idea. Maybe someday we'll get to understand what's really behind this.
A new technology has been developed.
New blueprints are available for crafting.
We are back at the fungal swamp outpost, Ashley. We can move forward with your plan.
Okay, Mr. Riggs, let's get rid of these parasites from the tree. We need to spray the entire trunk with fermented garlemonium extract, and we obviously won't be able to do this ourselves. We need to build repellent drone hubs around the tree to cover the entire organism.
That is a special building blueprint, Ashley. I will enable it only when we are within the construction zones. Also, remember that you will need to supply these buildings with clean water to operate.
Roger that, Mr. Riggs. We can easily filter water from the mud.
Drone hub in Zone A is online and operational. Fermented garlemonium extract distribution is commencing. Mission area expanded. Please check your map. I'm detecting a large group of creatures heading towards our position.
A new technology has been developed.
New buildings are available for construction.
Base is under attack.
One of our energy connectors has been destroyed. The drone hub in Zone B is online and operational. Fermented garlemonium extract distribution is commencing.
These creatures were huge! Wow!
I agree, Ashley. They were covered by big layers of fungal growth that absorbed most of our firepower.
They could pose a serious threat to our fortifications. Do we have enough data to determine which types of weapons would be most effective against these fungors?
No, not yet. We have to gather more data samples from these creatures. In the meantime, we have a bigger problem to solve. The group of fungors that came to attack us originated from a large island to the west of our position. I am detecting a lot of movement in that area.
They must have a nest or lair of some sort over there. Let's investigate that.
Warning! An aggressive horde is amassing near our base. Prepare to defend our base.